Hey, what is happening, people? Woodsy Workout here. Today we are talking injuries, injury rehab, and injury prevention. So I'm going to do a couple of videos on the common injuries related to Hyrox, things that I've seen or felt over time training myself and clients. And it's not just Hyrox related. They tend to be common overuse injuries that can occur in related sports. So running, obstacle course racing, DecaFit, CrossFit to some extent. And on the whole, I think Hyrox is a pretty safe sport. It doesn't go to the extremes on the running or the strength spectrum. And there's not a lot of high skilled movements like Olympic lifts. And that's kind of why I think it's great, and I feel confident in recommending it to the majority of people to give it a go without having to do a ton of specific training or safety protocols sort of thing. But with any sport, there are still injuries, and one of the most common ones I see and hear about are your lower leg, calf, Achilles tendon, and foot pain. So that is where we're going to start today. Right, before I get into it, I just want to say I'm not a medical professional. I'm a personal trainer and I speak and work with a lot of injury specialists. So my advice is speak to a specialist, get a proper diagnosis of your injury. But what I want to do is just give you some things that you can work on and work into your training to prevent or rehabilitate your injuries. So lower leg injuries when Hyrox training tend to be overuse injuries, and by that I mean they are load related. Unless you rolled your ankle, you likely didn't get injured from one specific movement or incident. It's more often the result of a lot of running, jumping, and heavy sled pushes that put too much stress through the muscles and tendons and ligaments than your body can currently cope with. And this is basic exercise training. I mean, you work out, you are stressing the body. When you rest, your body recovers, it compensates by getting stronger. And then next time you work out, you can go a little harder, a little longer. So we want to stay in that cycle, constantly, brushing up against your capabilities, recovering and getting stronger. What happens with overuse injuries is you push it too far, your body doesn't recover and you get pain. Then, and here's where people often make the mistake, they either go to just ignoring it, keep doing what they're doing, take a few painkillers. Not smart. Pain is a communication to the body, so start listening. Or what happens is you take complete rest and you wait for it to heal. And that's not in itself the problem. If you have pain, yes, you do need to rest. The problem is reintroducing exercise. So especially when it comes to tendons, they are very responsive to load. So if you've worked too hard, you've overcooked it, you have a few days or even a few weeks off of running. Meanwhile, your tendon is repairing and your capacity either just about stays the same or it diminishes. And then when you go back to running, you can do the same amount of training or even easier and still overdo it. So you get caught in this cycle of injury, rest, injury, rest. What we need to be doing is other things that can increase the capacity of your tendons and muscles without overloading them. And this is where specific strength training can be super beneficial to, first of all, increase the strength of your muscles and tendons, but also increase the range of motion of your joints, because if you have stiff ankles, stiff toes and even stiff hips, you are limiting the body to very restrictive movements, and that can create unnecessary strain, which makes you more susceptible to injuries. Now, where to start? Well, with muscle strains or tendon pain, isometrics is your first port of call. This basically just means holds where you're loading the muscle without moving it. Safest place to start. It's important to do these holds with the knee bent and with the knee straight, because you've got two major muscles in your calf, your gastroc and your soleus. With the knee bent, it hits the soleus. With the knee straight, it hits the gastroc. So do them both. A good dose is 45 seconds, 3 times, and it should be challenging. So you can start off with, so the options you have are both legs, single leg, and then single leg with some load. And the same in the squat position, you can do it holding onto something where you're taking some of your body weight off of it, doing it with your full body weight and then adding load. So you've got options there. Should be challenging for that 45 seconds. Once we feel good on the isometrics, we can move to slow controlled movements. So light load, 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. It's okay if it's a little uncomfortable, like a 1 to 3 level of pain, but it should not increase pain the next day. So increase gradually and go slow with the movements. If the structure is weak, then overstretching under load can aggravate it. And that's kind of why the combination of running and heavy sled pushes, where you're really stretching the foot out behind you, can be so detrimental. You don't need to put a huge stretch on it. So start off from the floor and do your heel raises that way. Then you can gradually increase by elevating the balls of your feet so that you're dropping the heel just below and getting a little bit of a stretch. So increasing your range of motion there can be really beneficial for those sled pushes. And then you can work on increasing your range of motion at the toes and feet by doing this move where you rock back and forth, pushing the knee over the toes without a lot of load on it. So this one is great to keep in the warm-up because you want to get that big toe moving. That helps a lot with running. If you can do those calf raises with weight and without increased pain the next day, you can progress to more dynamic movements. So before we get back to running and jumping, start off with like low level bouncing where you're just lifting the heels off quickly and repeatedly. And then you can get a little air time and you can start to do some skipping and some single leg hops as well. 3 sets of 20 low double foot hops is a good benchmark without pain the next day. If you get pain, go back to those slow strength movements. And if you can do 3 sets of 50 jumps without pain, then we can start to think about getting back into running and still progressing gradually, checking in with your pain the next day. Other movements that can really help prevent injury and are good ones to include are tib raises. We talked about the calf a lot, but the front of the shin needs to be worked as well and is often neglected. Spending time out of your shoes can strengthen your feet and get those toes moving. So we talked about how important range of motion is around the feet, can really help with your running. And then soft tissue work, it's as long as you don't have a recent injury and you don't have swelling, rolling out the calves and the bottom of the feet can help those tissues move and make you feel better, but we still want to be working on those exercises to fix the issue. And then ways to keep your strength and endurance up whilst rehabbing is to get on the machines. The bike, rower, skier, it's your chance to get really efficient at those. And also we want to work on keeping that endurance capacity so that when we have rehabbed the lower leg and calves, we can get back into running and we don't have to work on our fitness as well as time on your feet. And then instead of doing a lot of sled push, high volume squats will help you make progress on the sleds without having to push them all the time. Save the sled pushes until you're about 8 weeks from racing, and then you can get specific and get that feeling. But squats, high volume squats into assault bike or running will do a really good job at getting you prepped and increasing your capacity on those stations. So hopefully that was useful. If you've got any questions or opinions, drop them in the comments. Anything personal, if you're looking for coaching, hit me up on Instagram at Woodsy Workout, and subscribe if you want to see me do 1,000 meters of burpee broad jumps. I'm doing 1,000 meters of burpee broad jumps if I get to 1,000 subscribers, and we're close. We're on like 900 and something. So hit that subscribe button if you want to see me suffer. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next one.